In 1922, deep in the Valley of the Kings, a hidden tomb was opened for the first time in over 3,000 years. Inside lay treasures beyond imagination, and the mummy of a boy king who ruled Egypt for less than a decade, yet became the most famous pharaoh in history, Tutankhamun. Gold, jewels, chariots, masks, and a legend of a deadly curse. But who was this mysterious king? How did he live? How did he die? And why did his tomb survive when so many others were lost?
Tutankhamun was born around 1341 BCE, during one of Egypt's most turbulent times. His father was likely Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh who abandoned the gods of Egypt to worship only the Aten, the sun disk. Tutankhamun came to the throne as a child, perhaps only 8 or 9 years old. At first, he was known as Tutankhaten, the living image of Aten. But soon, under the influence of powerful advisors, the boy king changed his name to Tutankhamun, the living image of Amun. The temples of Amun were restored, the old gods returned, and Egypt was brought back from the brink of religious revolution. Tutankhamun's reign was short but symbolic. He was too young to rule alone. Real power lay with advisors like Ai and Horemheb, who guided Egypt's armies and politics.
Though young, inscriptions suggest Tutankhamun's armies went to war. Reliefs show him in a chariot, bow drawn, striking enemies of Egypt. Some scholars believe Egypt fought in Nubia and possibly the Levant during his reign. Whether Tutankhamun himself led these campaigns is debated, but the imagery served an important role, projecting strength after the chaos of Akhenaten's rule. The boy king was presented as a warrior pharaoh, restoring Ma'at, the divine order of Egypt.
Tutankhamun's death is one of Egypt's greatest mysteries. He died around age 18 or 19. CT scans and DNA studies reveal a fragile young man. He suffered from a cleft palate and a clubfoot, likely requiring a cane. Over 130 walking sticks were found in his tomb. DNA analysis shows he had malaria and possible genetic disorders from inbreeding. CT scans revealed a fracture in his leg shortly before death. Did he die from infection after the injury? From malaria? Or was it murder? Some argue a blow to the skulls suggests assassination. Others believe it was accidental damage after death. The truth remains uncertain, but Tutankhamun's short life ended suddenly, and with it, his fragile dynasty.
Tutankhamun was buried in a small tomb, KV62, in the Valley of the Kings. Compared to the grand tombs of other pharaohs, his was modest. This has led scholars to believe he died unexpectedly before a proper royal tomb was finished. The walls of his burial chamber are painted with scenes of his funeral, the gods welcoming him to the afterlife. Inside were over 5,000 artifacts. The iconic golden mask, inlaid with lapis lazuli and quartz. Golden shrines nested inside each other like Russian dolls. Chariots, weapons, musical instruments, jewelry, food and wine for the afterlife. His sarcophagus contained 3 nested coffins, the innermost of solid gold, weighing over 100 kilograms.
Soon after the discovery, tragedy struck. Lord Carnarvon died suddenly in Cairo. Newspapers spread the story of a pharaoh's curse. Death comes on swift wings to those who disturb the king's rest. In the years that followed, several people connected to the excavation also died prematurely, fueling global fascination with the curse of Tutankhamun. But scientists argue that deaths were coincidence or caused by mold, toxins, and ancient bacteria in the sealed tomb. Still, the legend endures.
Today, Tutankhamun is Egypt's most famous pharaoh. His mask is an icon of ancient civilization. His tomb transformed archaeology, tourism, and global fascination with Egypt. Ironically, he was a minor king, ruling for less than a decade. Yet his story, his youth, his sudden death, the treasure, the curse, made him immortal.
For more than 3,000 years, Tutankhamun slept in silence beneath the sands of the Valley of the Kings. A forgotten ruler, a boy who reigned for less than a decade, a name erased from king lists, a life ended before it truly began. In his time, he was but a minor figure in Egypt's vast history, and yet, in death, he became eternal. When Howard Carter brushed away the dust of centuries in 1922 and peered into the darkness of the tomb, the modern world was changed forever. Never before had a royal tomb been discovered so intact, so filled with treasure, so untouched by looters. For the first time, the modern age could look directly into the face of ancient Egypt, not through imagination, but through reality. The golden mask of Tutankhamun stared back at us, and we could not look away. But behind the gold and splendor lies the story of a fragile boy. Tutankhamun was sickly, with a clubfoot and genetic disorders. He limped through palaces with canes. He suffered from malaria. He was carried into battle scenes not by strength, but by tradition. His reign was not long enough to build mighty monuments like Ramses or wage great wars like Thutmose. Yet somehow, his modest tomb became the single most famous discovery in the history of archaeology. Why? Because sometimes the forgotten speak louder than the remembered. And then there is the curse. The sudden death of Lord Carnarvon, the mysterious illnesses, the whispers of ancient vengeance. Scientists explain it as coincidence, as toxins, as myth inflated by newspapers. But curses do not require proof to live. They live in fear, in imagination, in the stories we pass from one to another. For the people of the 1920s, the curse was as real as the golden mask itself. Even today, when we stand before the treasures in the Cairo Museum, a chill runs through us, not because of science, but because of story. Tutankhamun reminds us of something deeper. Civilizations rise, they flourish, and they fall. Names of mighty kings fade into sand. But the smallest spark, one forgotten tomb, one fragile boy, can survive the ages and ignite the entire world. Tutankhamun is not remembered because he ruled with power. He is remembered because his silence was broken, because we could finally hear the voice of ancient Egypt whispering through time. Perhaps his death was natural. Perhaps it was an accident, or perhaps, as some still believe, it was murder. We may never know, but Tutankhamun's legacy does not depend on answers. It depends on mystery. And mystery, like gold, does not tarnish. So as we close this journey, let us remember Tutankhamun not only as a boy king, but as a reminder of our own fragility and our own immortality through memory. In the end, Tutankhamun teaches us that history is not measured by how long we live, but by how deeply we are remembered.
What do you believe? Was Tutankhamun's death an accident, an illness, or a murder lost to history? Was the curse real or only a legend? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy this journey into the mysteries of Egypt, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss our next story. Share this with others who love history and forgotten legends. Your support keeps these stories alive, just as Tutankhamun's memory has lived for over 3,000 years.